Hello, dear students. So now today we will move ahead in this fourth chapter of class 8th science, that is materials, metals and non-metals. Okay. So now today we would be discussing some exceptions to metal and non-metals. Okay. Means regarding the physical properties. We have already discussed the physical properties of metals, and we have already discussed the physical properties of non-metals also. Now we have some exceptions to metals as well as to non-metals, which are not following the physical properties of the metals and non-metals. Like we have some exceptions of metals that are not following the physical properties of the metals. Okay. Similarly, we have some exceptions to the non-metals which are not following the physical properties of the non-metals. Isn't it? Okay. So now let's move ahead. The first exception is the mercury. Mercury is what? Mercury is a metal. Mercury is a metal. Now we have already discussed metals are what? They are solid. All the metals are solid at room temperature. Okay, but mercury is the only metal, rather I would say mercury is the only metal that exists as a liquid at room temperature. So you have all the metals and all are in the form of solid. But mercury is also a metal, but it is found in liquid form at room temperature. You must have seen the clinical thermometer where there we are using the mercury. The shining substance is there inside liquid and form. So that shiny was substance is what? It is mercury. So the basic property of the mercury is that it do not, when it rises up, so it do not stick to the walls of the mercury, isn't it? So that substance is what? It's the mercury. Okay, so mercury is metal. Mercury is metal, but it is liquid at room temperature. So it's the exception of the, but you can see here, mercury is not following the physical properties of metals. As we have already discussed, metals are solid, but mercury is not. Okay, then we have the next exception. As we have already discussed, metals have high melting point and high boiling point. We have already discussed this, but we have two substances here, such as gallium and cesium. So these two substances have low melting point and low boiling point. So again we have the exception for the metal. Okay, we have already discussed the physical properties of the metal. There we have discussed that metals have high melting point and high boiling point. But we have two metals here, gallium and cesium. So these two metals have low melting point and low boiling point. So not following the physical properties of the metals. Okay, now we have the next exception, that is of the non-metal. So iodine is what? It's a non-metal. And we have already read a property of the non-metal, physical property. It was non-metals have no luster. Have you read this? Yes. Means they do not shine. But iodine is a non-metal, it shine. Means it have luster. Getting? So again, it is not following the physical properties of the non-metal. So iodine is a non-metal that have luster. And the rest of the non-metal do not have luster. Okay, so some exceptions we have here. Okay, now the fourth property is we have diamond. And diamond, what is this diamond? This diamond is made up of carbon. So we can say the diamond is an allotrope of carbon. Allotrope of carbon means it is made up of carbon. And carbon is what? Carbon is a non-metal. And what is the property of the non-metal? Non-metals are very soft. But we have the diamond. This is the hardest known natural substance. Hardest known natural substance. It is very much harder, even harder than the metal. We have read the property of the non-metal, and then we have read there non-metals are very soft. But diamond, which is again made up of carbon, which is a non-metal, is the hardest known natural substance. Okay, so again not following the physical properties of non-metals. Okay, and one more property of the non-metal we have already discussed. Non-metals have low melting and low boiling point, but diamond has high melting point and high boiling point. Whereas it is what? It is a non-metal. Getting it? Next exception is of the graphite. Graphite is one, it's an allotrope of carbon. Again it is made up of carbon. And we have already discussed carbon is non-metal. And the non-metal are bad conductor of heat. Sorry, bad conductor of electricity. Have you read this? Bad conductor of electricity. We have read this, we have discussed this. Non-metals are bad conductors of electricity. But we have a graphite which is again a non-metal because it is made up of carbon. So graphite, which is a non-metal, and it is a good conductor of electricity. It's a conductor of electricity. Again, it is not following the properties of the non-metal. Okay. Then we have some alkali metals are there. Alkali metals like lithium, sodium, potassium. These are known as alkali metals. We would be reading more about alkali metals in the classes ahead when you would move to like in the 10th, 11th class. Okay. So here we have alkali metals. We are just calling lithium, sodium and potassium as the alkali metal. Okay. And metals have the property you might be knowing. Metals have high density, high melting point and high boiling point. We have discussed this. Metals have high density like iron. The particles are very closer there. The metals have high melting point also and high boiling point also. But we have the alkali metals like lithium, sodium, potassium. These metals have what? Low density, low melting point and low boiling point. So again, these metals are not following the properties of metals. Are you getting this? Just note it down. And from here now we can conclude that only on the basis of physical properties you cannot identify whether a given substance is metal or not. Suppose I am giving you a substance. So only on the basis of the physical properties you cannot say whether the given substance is metal or non-metal. So how would you say that the given substance is metal or non-metal? A substance is metal if it is electropositive in nature. That you have to remember. Are you getting? If it is electro, we have already discussed this. A substance is a metal if it is electropositive in nature, and a substance is non-metal if it is electronegative in nature. So only on the basis of these two things you can identify whether the given substance is metal or non-metal. Okay, but only on the basis of physical properties we cannot decide whether the given substance is metal and non-metal. That is because many exceptions are also here. Okay, just note it down. So hence we can say that only on the basis of physical properties we cannot decide whether a given substance is metal or non-metal. So therefore we can categorize a given substance as metal or non-metal depending upon whether that given substance is electropositive or electronegative in nature. So if it is electropositive in nature, then you would call the given substance as what? Metal. Okay, otherwise it's a non-metal, isn't it? Okay, that is all for today. We'll be discussing some more topics of this chapter in the upcoming lectures. Till then, stay tuned and keep watching. Thank you. Have a good day.